All right. So here we are. Once again on the Daily Huddle. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you listening and possibly taking something from this conversation that may um, aid you going forward. Of course, the topic is how can a digital detox strengthen your mental and your physical wellness? Hmm. Well, let me start from the beginning and let you know that, and I have said this before on other huddles, that there's a couple of things that I'm focusing on right now, right? One of them is forgiveness, and one of them is digital detox, right? I didn't say that before when I spoke about the actual, we were on the forgiveness topic, but this digital detox thing is a very important thing. It's important because we are all collectively losing a lot of time when we are um, concentrating on digital or being online or connected to our phones, right? So it kind of sounds strange to say it in another way, because what we went through over the last few years with everything that kind of stopped the world, the digital part did not stop. It actually went higher, it augmented, it grew exponentially. Speaking of that, being on Zoom grew in such a heavy way that it was almost off the charts, right? How much it grew. And you would say to yourself, well, why is that? Well, of course, it grew because people were trying to stay connected to each other. And we understand that, right? So, as I did a lot of research on this, and I'm still doing research all the time, um, I, I found out some information that I thought was really powerful. And I looked at it and I listened to it. And I'm presently working to work it into my daily routine, right? Or work it out of my daily routine, as they say. So why is this a bad thing anyway, right? So it is said that the screen time that we are taking every day is doing something to us, right? It's causing us more anxiety. It is giving us what do you call it? What's the word I'm looking for? It is increasing our FOMO. If you're not familiar with that, FOMO stands for fear of missing out, right? So if we're online so much, we can't possibly grasp everything that's online. It is impossible. But when you look at all the different ways we have to communicate through regular text, messenger, TikTok, what is that other one called? Lemon 8, um, Telegram. I mean, you could name 10 of them easily. What are we doing over here when before all we had was this, right? So you may be asking yourself, okay, yes, but now we're here. Now we're communicating this way. I think I said something on another huddle where I was talking about a friend of mine who told me about an event that was happening. And I said, oh my goodness, when did that happen? It happened last week, he said. And I said, why didn't you call me? He said, I put it on Facebook so everyone could see. And I thought to myself, so if I'm not on Facebook, I missed because you just put it there. We had a conversation about it. Long story short, in going into a deep dive about communicating and how we do, I did something very interesting. I went on my phone and I went to the area that said screen time, and I looked at how much time I was on my phone. Today, when I looked at it, it said your screen time is down 20%. And I thought, wow, 20%, that's good. That's really good. And then I looked at why it's down 20%. What did I do differently? Where did I go less? What did I do? And it breaks down on the iPhone, the place at the most. Very helpful. Then else, and I want to make sure I'm telling you the right way. Um, very interesting. There were two categories. One was communication limits, and one was downtime, right? So on your iPhone, and I'm sure for Android users as well, there's a setting that allows you to limit communication on certain levels. This is fascinating to me. You can take brackets of time and you can make your phone less open during those times. Also, there's a setting called downtime where you can pull your phone and you're taking everything down and it shuts off all the things that you want to shut off. And I thought, isn't this amazing? Isn't this amazing? You can actually go on your phone and do that for yourself so that you don't have to think about it. Those of you who knew about this ahead of time, amazing. I didn't know that it had this detail, right? So I have a list that I wrote down. And this is it's a basic list, but it's something that will help you digital detox a little bit easier, right? So I have here, check your screen time, which I said, turn on do not disturb at night, which some people are adverse to that because you have children, you have elderly people in your life, so on and so forth. What if there's emergency? I remember talking to a friend of mine once. We were out and I felt like he was on his phone all the time, all the time, all the time. So I said, let's have a meal where we just talk and sit and we don't look at our phones. And I remember him saying to me, I have kids. If there's an emergency, I need them to contact me. And I thought, okay, I have to respect that. I really have to respect that. But at the same time, we're asking ourselves, how many times is a major emergency coming up where someone has to get to us on our phone? Well, we don't know, right? That's the truth. We don't know. So check screen time, turn on do not disturb at night, remove apps. It is said that most of us have at least 10 apps on our phone that we don't use at all or very seldomly. So that's a good one. The other one was an analog day. I personally used to have 2 days a month of vocal rest, no speaking at all the entire day, which pushed me to my phone because I would answer texts, but I wouldn't talk. Interesting. Now I researched a few people online who have an actual analog day where they leave their phone at home and they do things, cooking, reading, writing. They might go to a pool, they might go to a beach, they might just sit on the grass and let their body rest and get into the nature. This was really attractive to me, really, because I've done this on some levels already, but I wanted to let you know that this list of things kind of like jarred some extra things in my head. I wrote down, talk slower, take deeper breaths, roll your neck and your hands in circles, right? And take more mindful steps. There was one on this list that was really, really interesting to me. And the thing on the list that stuck out to me was hugging more. Now you might say, well, how does internet time connect with hugging more? And immediately when I read it, I thought, if you're hugging more people or you're hugging your loved one or you're hugging your children, you're not on your phone, right? And you might say, well, my kids are going to think it's weird if I'm just hugging them all day. And I don't mean hugging all day, but I just mean incorporating the hugging thing more than you normally would, which breaks up the time, right? What else was so there was something online that I found, and you can research this on your own. It's over already, but there's a company called Siggy's. If you are a yogurt eater, Siggy's is an Icelandic yogurt company. I believe at the beginning of every year, or they've just done it in the last couple years, they have a digital detox contest where they give $10,000 away to anyone who can go 30 days without using their phone. And I thought, 30 days without using their phone. First of all, how do they track that? Do they have an app or something that goes into your phone and then they say, okay, well, if we feel any movement on your phone, you're disqualified. Is that what they do? I don't know. So I clicked on it. Of course, the contest was over. It was in January. But I thought to myself, could someone go 30 days without their phone? Well, it depends on what you do, right? I'm in entertainment. Just in the last 3 days, I've gotten calls that are related to gigs or, my livelihood. If I didn't have my phone on, I would not have gotten those. Or maybe they would have emailed me, or maybe they would have done it another way. So there becomes like this slight conflict between complete digital detox or partial digital detox. So my question to you is, oh, I actually remember that I forgot something. There's a setting on the phone that is called um, screen distance, right? This, they say, is on the phone to prevent mostly children from getting myopia. It's something where when you hold the phone, it tells you that you're holding the phone too close. So we'll figure a 12-inch distance away from your face is recommended. And if you go too close, it'll say, oh, you're getting too close. I found that also very fascinating. These are just little tips and tools that I think could help all of us in one way or another. And to take it very basic and down to brass tacks, how can we reclaim our intentionality and our mindfulness? How many times, just to take a simple example, have you been walking down the street and fully noticed so many things around you, right? I'm in New York City. I have a lot of information I can notice. Trust me. But this mental, we've taken away some of our mindfulness because we are here. And I see it all the time. And I caught myself doing it the other day, walking across the street, looking at your phone. There could not be too many things that are as dangerous as that. First of all, you don't see anything that's happening around you. Second of all, you can run into someone. Third of all, if for some reason something is in front of you, a dog, a rock, and you fall and you were on your phone, that's got to not feel good. So I'm being extremely mindful of that. But my point overall is, what have we done to create this urgency that everything that is worthwhile, everything that is critical lives on our phone? And how can we circumvent that with some of the things? I'm reading a book right now on the singer Tom Jones, and I read a lot, right, overall. But recently, I switched my reading habits to a little bit less personal development, a little bit more about people. Just that slight switch had me in a space of calm, reading 4 chapters about this man who I respect highly. Little baby steps, right? Gardening, reading, writing, cooking. Those are the things that I said before. And there's a guy that I highly recommend that you research. His name is Cal Newport. And he has I think you can get it a PDF of his book, and it's called Digital Minimalism. Really, really great read. I just recommend that to you. I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I have a lot of PDF files that I've taken in from different people who are well versed in their area, so on and so forth. And I'm telling you, Cal Newport, wow. Just to make you think about a few things. As I was coming up on this topic or thinking about it, I was also thinking about the studies that I looked at that really concentrated on the things that are happening to people that are so lost in the digital world that when they're one-on-one with people, they're now uncomfortable, full of anxiety, and also full of expectation, because the phone is feeding us information. But even when it's not feeding us something that we're looking for, we can get lost in just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. So as I said in the beginning of this, that when I looked at my screen time, it said, I think it's at 6 hours. On one day, it said 4 hours or 6 hours. And I said, that can't be right. How did I spend 6 hours online today? But it's in increments, right? It's like taking $100 bill out of your pocket and you spend 20 bucks. Now you have 80. And somehow during the day, you buy little things. And at the end of the day, you have $10. And what do we say? What did I spend my money on today? Well, I don't even have anything. I ate some food. I went here. I did this. What did I do? And that's what I liken to our internet use, right? I'm not an expert on this. I'm just merely sharing these little tidbits of information because I'm really mindful of it right now, like more than I've ever been. And I'm saying to myself, well, I listen to personal development a lot. I'm not looking at my phone when I'm doing that. I'm just, doing that. But then there's areas that get me, right? Like Pinterest and Instagram. I'm a visual person. I love colors. I love the way they show up in front of me. And I'm a photographer. So as I'm taking pictures on my phone or on my regular cameras, I'm engaged in this area that's so magical to me. So I'm thinking, how do I turn that down? And on the days when I do go analog, an entire new piece of my brain opens up. This is completely true. And I feel it. I feel it open up. And then when I go online, I feel it close because then I become very focused in one area, right? So my question to you is, what are you doing to minimize your screen time? Or are you? Or is it important to you at all? Because it may not be important. Certain people have learned how to live on that level where they're now engaged online a lot, like almost all the time. Why not? I'm here, I'm having a good time. But if you look at your screen time, this is what I'm asking of you. If you look at your screen time as soon as you can, when you get off the phone, look at your screen time on your phone. I believe Android and iPhone has it. I'm telling you, you will be so surprised at what you see. It'll blow your mind because sometimes we need to measure what we're doing, right? As the saying goes, um, if it's important to you, it should be measured. Or if we want to get the information, if we measure it, we'll see. It can be done with anything, right? You can say today, how much money did I spend from the point A to point B? Or you can say, how many steps did I take, right? I have apps that show the steps that I take every day. I take an average of 10 to 13,000 steps a day. You're like, what? Are you serious? But I live in New York. I use the subway, but I also walk a lot. Imagine if you knew how many minutes you were online every day. What could you do with that information? Would it aid you better mental health, better physical health? Because when you think about the physicality of it, we're holding our phone or we're looking down on something, right? Our neck, our hands, the curvature of our body. I've looked into all of this and it's very fascinating because now it becomes normal. So whatever health problems we're creating with that, we think they're normal, right? Basically, but they're not. I remember just a quick story. I went to a retreat upstate New York, and I remember this one thing that always stuck with me, and that was over the weekend because it was like Friday to Monday. There was no speaking at the meal times, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. No talking. Everybody was just eating. That was one of the most magical times I've ever had. So now, when I'm eating in a restaurant or when I'm by myself in a restaurant, 80% of the time now, I'm not touching my phone. I either put it away, put it in my bag, and I just eat. The 20% I'm working on. But right now, 80% of the time. So this is a lot of information that I've just given you. But I just want to add one more thing. And that is we speak about the tenets on the daily huddle. And one of the tenets we speak about is sleep, right? This concept of being on our phone until we sleep and getting on our phone as soon as we wake up, there's something in our body, and we've spoken about it many times, um, which is melatonin, which helps us sleep. As I did my research, I realized that when you use your phone up until you go to sleep, it blocks the secretion of the melatonin, right? I read some stuff about this and it's fascinating because your body takes a certain amount of time to um, go back to zero or back to normal when you're on your phone. It's different for each person. It might take somebody an hour. They may have just watched a scary movie or looked at a bad news story or whatever. And then your body takes time to come down. So I wanted to say that to you just to make sure you know there's some things that we're doing to hurt ourselves, and we can stop them by putting the phone across the room when we sleep. Now we have to get up, go to the bathroom, get some water, whatever the case is, and then look at our phone. Maybe we don't look at our phone for the first hour. I have a friend that doesn't look at her phone until 11. There's nothing there that disrupts her at that time. So I want to reach out to you and see if anybody has any comments about this, because it's something that we all go through and it's something we're all working on. So does anyone have a comment about it or something that they'd like to add to the conversation? All right, not a problem at all. Oh, was that free? Did you want to say something?
Yeah, yeah. So, Chase, it's a very interesting topic.
Mhm.
And one of the things I want to say is that tech technology is now dictating our life.
Yes.
And as you quite rightly said, people, if we go to a family gathering, if we go to have lunch at the restaurant, everybody's there on their phone and they're not focusing on what is the purpose of the gathering, the family gathering, or going to the restaurant to have lunch or dinner. And, because of that, and because people have become so mindset or them about their phone, and their mind is now programmed that they must live with their phone, you're finding that family time has reduced.
Hmm.
And also because, as you said earlier, we now have Zoom and other platforms as well. You find that the face-to-face communication and the get-together has reduced as
Right,
well.
right.
And because of that, because of that, technology has ruined the fabric of society,
Hmm.
right? And if we need to reduce our phone time, it takes discipline. We have to be disciplined. And that's something that's a journey, right? And we can tell ourselves, look, from 8 a.m. to 12 a.m. to 12 p.m., I'm not going to look at my phone. But guess
Right.
what?
Hmm.
As soon as I wake up in the morning, I'm there on the phone.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's true. Everything that you said is true. I can't even deny it. I mean, it's right there in front of us. And you know what? Being in New York, there's a lot of really interesting things that I don't think are in a lot of other cities because we have this, obviously, this, bullet base of incredible culture and people and so on and so forth. And there are some activities in New York City, one that I know specifically, where I think it's 5 couples or 6 couples meet in someone's apartment. That person might be a chef or whatever. Obviously, you have a big enough place to accommodate a lot of people. And when you come in, you have to put your phone in a plastic bag and it goes into an area and everyone eats and everyone interacts. You meet people, you talk about professions, mindsets, places you've been, whatever. The event is really going well. A lot of people are showing up, they're doing different things. As you know, some comedians like Kevin Hart, no phones at the show, a couple other comedians say whatever. So we're chopping away at it, but we're not there yet. And when we do, and we can regain mindfulness and intentionality, it's going to change all of us. That's what I really believe.
Yeah.
Thank you for it. I appreciate you. Cece.
Hey, everybody. I'm
Cece.
making intentional efforts to be off the phone
Mhm.
because I desire to be present with God first, with others,
Right.
and myself. So I have put down the phone, even though I talk a lot. And this is a awesome discussion, and I want to do more about this because people don't realize looking at this phone regularly is reprogramming our thoughts and mind. So,
Right.
is this included as part of screen time, being on the daily huddle?
I believe
Thank
it
you.
is. I believe it is, but you know what? And I'll say this just in a direct response to what you said. This daily huddle is 30 minutes, right? The act or the intention of this conversation is not be online. It's to regulate what you're doing or to detox. Like when you use the word detox, let's say you love sugar and now you're eating 3 donuts a day. You love it. You're doing it all the time. But what's going to happen if you go down to 1 donut a day and then you go down to 2 donuts a week? That's more what I'm talking about because we have a certain necessity for digital in our life. Yes, it is there. If I tell you I'm going to do a digital detox for the next 7 days, Did I tell everybody I was detoxing? How do they know something's wrong with me? My mother, my father, they'll call me, where is he? I don't know. He's not online. Has anyone heard from him? And that's what's so interesting to me, having to balance this communicative structure that we built. How do we take it down and still exist and still be vibrant and still be creative and still be connected? That's the challenge. That's what I'm saying. Right? I think you're muted. I cannot hear you.
Yes, only
Right.
get 10 minutes to binge today on the screen, 10 minutes, and I'm reducing it to 5 minutes.
Right. Thank you,
I
Cece.
like the short.
You know, and it's interesting as we're all talking about this, having this topic, because if you're doing too much of anything, if it's not producing a good result, then you should cut it away. To me, the huddle is feeding us. It's feeding our mind. It's feeding our heart. It's feeding our soul. We need more of that, right? If I said to you, what do you spend your time on internet? And someone told me, well, I go in a daily huddle. I listen to a couple of podcasts a day, and you know, maybe I go to Pinterest for like a half an hour. The rest of that, I just stay offline. That's amazing. That's amazing, you know, because that means someone's in life. They're doing something, right? They're out making a difference. As a musician, I go out and I make a difference, and I go to parties and I sing, and I'm not on my phone when I'm doing that. But sometimes part of that is on my phone because I get information from the phone and music. So it just takes each one of us dissecting what's important to us and how we've made it important, which is even bigger. Some things well, that's important. I got to have that. I got to go on that every day. That's your conversation to yourself. Because when you didn't have it, you still existed and you still did your life. So it's interesting. It's just something of a personal kind of introspective that we have to do. I do it every day. I look at myself and I'm going, wow, this is, you know, one of my biggest things online is Pinterest. I love Pinterest. I love the way it makes my mind feel. I love seeing things, whatever. And then I have to pull away. It's like too much for me. I have to cut it off. I haven't been on Pinterest in over a week now. But when I see that little P, I go, oh, Pinterest. And I want to click up. Okay. Right? Less trash in keeps the mind clean. That's true. CC, that's really true. So I say to all of you, and of those of you who heard the whole presentation that I gave, I want to just double back for 1 second to say, look at your phone and look for those areas that I talked about. If you have an iPhone, there's an area called communication limits. There's an area called screen distance, and there's an area called downtime. Believe it or not, you can actually program your own downtime. On Android, I'm not as familiar with, but please look on the Android or go online and see how can I get more time by specifically blocking out my phone for a certain amount of time, right? And I think it would work good for all of us. I remember Timothy Ferriss, who's somebody I study very closely, said years ago, I don't answer emails. I put my email on an automatic response. And then once a month or once every 2 weeks, I look at all the emails and I let people know I won't be answering this right away. But if this is an emergency, and I give them away, but most of the emails just sit there. When I look at them, none of them would have stopped in my life or did stop my life because I didn't listen to them. And I always remembered that. I'm like, wow, or look at them. So I always say, you got to work on yourself first, right? I'm not here to preach to anyone. I'm just a messenger from this particular day. And I wanted to just bring that to everyone's attention more so that we can pay attention to it. It saves the way that we look at things to be a little bit softer. I believe we interact with human beings better when we're not online all the time. I believe that we listen better. We have less anxiety and we have more time to take care of ourselves. That's so important to me, right? Look at yourself in the mirror. Are you happy with your weight? Are you happy with the way your hair looks? Are you happy with the way you're taking in food? Oh my goodness. I mean, if you're not happy with those things, why not replace your first hour of waking up with calisthenics or meditation or a walk without your phone? So this is important. And I hope that you've gleaned something from this conversation, because I'm just speaking to you from someone who's a student as well. I remain a student for the rest of my life. I am not interested in complete mastery. I'm interested in complete, or as Tony Robbins would say, constant and never ending improvement. That's how I see this whole conversation, right? Does anyone have anything to say before we sign off? Anyone at all?
Yes. I spend more time journaling and listening to God, as well as I want to thank you for this topic. You bring so much rich information to the Daily Huddle, and I'd like to thank you. You're doing an excellent job.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate you so much. You're always so positive. I really appreciate that. So that's it, my good people. I just want to make sure I didn't cut anybody off, and it looks like no one else is speaking. Okay, great. Oh, did somebody say something?
Can you hear me?
Oh, yes. Hi, how are you?
Hey, my dear brother, Grand Rising, everyone.
Mountain
Thank you so much, my dear brother Chase. I am so happy that you touched that topic, and I wish a lot of more people would hear this. It's so vivid that people is no longer conscious to the awareness what is going on in their life. And trust me, that forgiveness, oh my goodness, you know me with that forgiveness. I am so happy that you have touched the topic, but I think you need to come back a
I
third
will
time.
come back. You're right about that.
Please. And I'm telling you, let me know when it is, because I need some people to listen to this one. Thank you so much, my dear. Thank you.
Yes, I think we're going to come back to that. I'm going to give it a week or so. So maybe in 2 weeks, I'll come back to that topic again, because it's very necessary. Anyway, my good people, it's been a pleasure as always. I enjoyed being with you and in your energy. It really, really makes my day go very well. And I appreciate you. I go to the Huddle just about every day. And I just thank all of you for being here. Please remember our tenets: love, love, please love. I'm begging you. Live out loud a little bit more. Say a little bit more what you feel. Reach out to people and touch them. Ask them how they're doing. Laugh, because laughter is contagious and necessary for our good health, right? Also, give it a shot to be plant-based. I say this all the time. I enjoy being plant-based at least 90% of the time. That's just my lifestyle. And also the sleep, what I just mentioned a little while ago. Sleep a little more, do something to sleep a little more. When you're not on your phone, your body sleeps better. Before you go to sleep, if you say, I'm not going to be on my phone before an hour before I go to sleep, the sleep is better. It's proven. It's shown all over in sleep studies. So give that a shot, right? Also, oh my goodness, stress less. Please stress less. If the Daily Huddle is not your habit thus far, come back here and get some of this juice so that you don't have to stress as much as possible. And also, please check yourself before you wreck yourself. Challenge your assumptions, because most of the things that we think are going to happen or we think are hurting us are just in our mind, and we are accentuating them by just concentrating on them. So meditate. And by the way, everyone within the shot of my voice, if you know anyone that you believe should be on the Daily Huddle, and you'd like to send them our way on any one of our days, please contact us. We would love to interview people of high level, high thought, high inspiration. Let us know, and we'll get back to you. Have a spectacular day, everybody. It was wonderful being with you, and create a day that you're going to love intentionally. Be well.
Thank you, Chase. Excellent job.